Namaskar. Dear trainee teachers, I'm Dr. Manish Kumar K. Badoria. I'm teaching English since 2008, English as a language and literature. Today I'm here to share my experience with all of you, and I hope to learn something new from all of you. Our topic for the day is communication in different aspects. You all must have studied communication and its other aspects in one or other terms in your earlier classes. Some of you might have studied communication as one of the chapters in your business administration studies. Today we are going to discuss communication on social media and its academic concern. So friends, before jumping into the topic, let's see what are the reasons to take up this issue, why we are discussing it at this juncture. Corona. The word of this still echoes, the boom of this word still echoes in our ears. Corona has changed certain things in our life drastically. And when it comes to teaching and learning process, it has turned the whole process upside down. And however, we can say that we are using social media, various platforms in one or other terms while teaching in classroom situation. But at the same time, I must say that Corona has made us, or rather forced us, to cover a decade of technological development in just a span of few weeks and months. Come on, who have imagined in the beginning of the year 2019 and 20 that we will be using Zoom applications, Google Meet to teach students at the school level? So that's the impact of Corona. And that's why we are discussing this topic, communication on social media. Let's see, first of all, what we mean by communication. Communication is simply the act of transferring information. We can also say the word communication refers to sharing of ideas, sharing of emotions, sharing of instructions. Okay, it becomes a very important when it comes to teaching learning process. It can be oral, it can be written, it can be verbal, it can be non-verbal. In classroom situation, a teacher is generally a good communicator. Okay, a good teacher means a good communicator who can reach up to his students and connect with them. So, as far as communication is concerned, a communication process involves at least one speaker, one message, and one recipient. I'm not going into details and definitions, as this is not the alien topic for all of you. You must have gone into these details in your earlier lectures. Okay, still, there are a number of factors, there are a number of barriers, there are a number of hurdles which affect the whole communication process. So I am here highlighting the things which occurs in our classroom situation. The first is our emotions. Yes, our emotions do affect the communication process. The way you flutter your eyes, the way you mince your word, the way you move your hands, the way you walk when you talk, it all affects communication. When you speak in a classroom, it is not only the words, it's your body language that allow the students what you mean by when you say something. So do take care of your emotions while you speak in your classroom. Because when it comes to communication, a touch can make, a touch can mar. Next comes the cultural situation. We all have our own share of culture. We all have our own background in terms of our socio-political culture, our own mother tongue, our language, our locality, and all this affect when you speak, when you pronounce something, when you your dialect. So it's all affect your communication. Come on, remember, we all must have one or the other teacher in our school days, okay, and who makes us difficult to understand when he speaks something because of his typical pronunciation. Okay, it is not the effect of learning or his knowledge. It is the absent-mindedness of teacher when it comes to the cultural situation. Next comes the medium used to communication. This becomes even more important in the current scenario. We are already using some of the mediums, WhatsApp, YouTube, but Zoom, Google, altogether virtual classroom situations. And why we have to use these multiple platforms? Because a single medium is not applicable to all of them, because they all are coming from different kind of a socio-political cultural background. Okay, everybody has not a same kind of a access to fast network, fast internet, 4G network. So we have used a multiple of choices. We have used multiple of situations, applications and options to teach students in classroom. You can recall incident. It was highlighted in newspaper that in one school in a village area, the teachers use loudspeaker, which is generally used for prayers. They used to recite their lessons using that loudspeaker, and that loudspeaker enabled the students to comprehend what is teachers trying to teach. So we always look for options. While selecting the medium, we have to take in consideration, okay, what are the economical condition, what are the technological availability when it comes to within students' reach. Next comes our location. Yes, location do affect. There are still few areas which are not covered when it comes to mobile network, when it comes to fast use and internet and 4G networks and all kind of a situation. Again, I recall a report, it was published in newspaper. It's about a tribal girl. Okay, she used to climb a top of mountain every morning just to have mobile network to allow her to reach to her teacher for online classes. So location do. So keep in mind when you take into consideration communication as a day-to-day thing. Okay, when you are talking with your colleagues and other things, it's do matter, but it becomes even more important in classroom situations. So our emotions, our cultural situation, the medium we are using for communication, and our location, it's do affect the whole communication process. I have already told you, being a teacher, you are not only an instructor. For me, you are a manager. You are a facilitator. You are passing on the instruction. You are filling the gap. You are an organizer. You are managing the intellectual needs of the students. You are building confidence in them. So you need to have a good communication skill. You must reach their emotions, their psyche, their expectation when it comes to communication. Okay, so it is said that especially for a good teacher, educator, good communication is invaluable asset. It is the communication that bridges the gap. Like, obviously, we have a difference of age, difference of knowledge, difference of socio-cultural background. We can have a difference of mother tongue also. That's why we use English for communication. Okay. Now come to the topic. Why we are discussing it? Internet is connecting. I have given you a lot of example. Internet is connecting you to your students in this pandemic situation. When physical classroom is not available, it is the internet which is helping you to connect with your student. But mind you, the same internet can widen the rift. Yes, the same internet can widen the rift if you don't take a proper precautionary steps. One such factor widening the rift between you and your student, if you are not aware of the new mutation, or I would say variation of the language which is used on social media. Okay, I don't feel shy to say that. Sometimes I have to take help of my students to get hold of the few words which is totally unknown for me when it comes to social media. So it is not an exaggeration when I say it is quite amusing that the internet, the same internet and social media, which is bridging the gap between teachers and student, is also widening the rift. And how it's happening? It's happening because of new vocabulary. Imagine the word wall, streaming, post. These words have altogether a different meaning when it comes to social media and internet. And new words, new hashtags, new isms are generated here, streamed on, posted, liked, shared here every day. Let me give an example. This is the social media, power of social media. Here Virushka, Virat plus Anushka becomes Virushka. Saif plus Karina becomes Safina. You may think that what is this thing has to do with our teaching in classroom? Yes, it is a part of your communication because you are using the same social media for communicating to reaching to your student. So you must be aware of this mutation of the language. Apart from this Virushka and Safina, here look at the spelling. CLR becomes color. When I write G, R and 8, it becomes great. When I write B, T and W, it becomes by the way. In some situation, it becomes between. THK becomes thank. GN becomes good night. TBT becomes throwback Thursday. So if you are not aware of such words, it might lead to a situation where you find that you are unequipped. There are few hurdles, there are few hiccups, as I have already told you. We have covered a decade of technological advancement within the span of few months in the current corona situation. So it makes some challenges for us. We have to deal with these challenges. Above situation demands us all to walk few extra miles. Why? These changes and challenges are not always positive. They can be negative. Okay? It is okay if you write these words on social media, but when it gets to your habit, it becomes a problematic because I see all of you and your student as future researcher, a potential teachers, a potential academicians. Okay, and when you lack the true insight of a language, it means your knowledge is not complete. So we have to take a proper care. Okay, these words do not take into our academics. It is okay on social media, but it's not okay when it comes into your books, in your textbooks, in your exams, because exams are taken on a sheet of a paper. They can be taken online, but they are evaluated as per the set standard. These words are not a set standard, so you have to make your students aware, okay, to avoid such language, because when you are young, you easily develop habits. So, what a teacher, average teacher can do to highlight his communication on social media? There are a few points that I want you, all of you, to concentrate on. Let's see them one by one. First thing is competence and patience. Whatever the social media or applications I'm using, the precondition is that I must be very well competent enough with that particular app, media or technology. If I'm not equipped with that proper software, that application, I might find myself in a difficult situation. There are millions of teachers who complain that when they started their classes on Google Meet and Zoom, they have to feel and face some of the harassment and situation, annonation, these things. Some students do not know how to work. So when you are dealing with the technology, you may find beginners, half beginners, false beginners, all kind of students, because every student do not have same amount of exposure to this technology. So beside being competent in use of these technology, you should be patient enough. You should have a patience. You have to understand that every student had a different background. They might not be as techno-savvy as you are or the other students are. So patience is the key. You have to give him time, and you have to give yourself a thorough knowledge of that particular app. Next come personalized learning environment. We all know that. Every student has his or her own speed to comprehend things, to grasp things. So we always value to make the things personalized. And honestly, We all know that. This becomes difficult when we have 40 plus or 60 plus students in our classrooms. We can't go making the things personalized. But social media, applications, audiovisual device gives us this edge. They gives us edge on times and space. We can personalize our lecture, our content, resource to suit their psyche, okay, in a proper way. We can make our content and everything personalized to cover the medium and below average students. Third is hopefulness, positivity. Positivity is very contagious. Yes, it is contagious, more contagious than corona. It spread rapidly. You should be hopeful. It is good to say nice job, great, you can do better, sabas. You can use these words, okay? When you are hopeful, your students build a confidence. They develop a positive attitude towards the users of particular app on media. Next, be passionate and generate passion. You should be passionate enough to learn new things. Okay, you are a leader in the classroom. You must have a leadership skills. You should be passionate enough to take up the challenges, to take up the change. And when you are passionate enough, when you have such leadership quality, you inspire your students automatically. And your passion multiplies in them. And they also becomes eager to learn new technology. They are eager to learn new realms of knowledge. Fifth, connect. Connect with your students. Connect with your problem. Connect with their problems. Allow them to build a relation with you and you build relation with them. Okay, we all must have a teacher in our school days. Okay, which one called our favorite teacher. Okay, so what is the special about that particular teacher? Connection. We all must have our own favorite teacher. Why they are our favorite? Because we have very personal relationship, a personal connect with them. You have to develop that connection to win the confidence of your students. Only then they can share their heart out with you. 6. Mistake equals to learning happening. It's better to make mistake because when you do mistake, you find this is not the right way. If you are not ready to make mistake, your student will be frightened to share new ideas, to try new things, to connect with you. So you should be ready to take their mistakes. And when you are doing a new thing, mistakes are bound to happen. You should be ready to accept them. You have to rectify them, but in a very tactful manner. You can't sow your frustration and anger with them. You have to give them time. You have to make them realize it is okay to make a mistake, but it's not okay to give up. Explore the difference teaching method. Why I'm saying exploration? We were teaching using chalk and blackboard. We were teaching using digital board. Then comes the corona. We have to change options. We have to try multiple things. Okay? Thankfully, there are some teachers who are equipped enough and they are ready for this change. But this is not the case with the most of the teachers. So we are late when it comes to the beginning of academic session. So if you are always ready to explore new things, you are future ready. Future is uncertain. And when you are dealing something with this uncertain, you should be prepared well. Next point also connect with that. Teacher training and development. As a teacher, you should always thrive to update yourself, to take an extra step, take an extra care that you should learn and update yourself for your students. You should always be ready. You should always take positively when it comes to training and development to develop your skills. Government runs many programs to develop your skills. And ninth, hold students accountable. That's the thing. When I say connect with your student, be passionate, get ready to accept mistake, but at the some point of a time, when you have given them decent amount of a practice, when you have given them decent amount of a chance, you should make them realize that it is enough. Now they have to take their own journey on their own shoulder because they have to perform well in exam. Exam is the battle that they have to fight alone. They have to shine. They have to score good marks. So they must be given accountability. Exams in any forms, taste, oral questioning, that should be the part of your system also. Friends, after discussing communication on social media, let's take another aspect of communication that is equally more important and as important as the first aspect that we discussed. Communication when it comes to group discussion and personal interview. So before taking the plunge into the topic, let's discuss what we mean by group discussion. Group discussion is an important activity in academics, business, and administrative spheres. It is systematic and purposeful interactive oral process. It is not the one that you see on televisions, news debates. No, they are not group discussion. Here the exchange of ideas, thoughts, and feelings takes place through oral communication. So first of all, understand what GD is. Okay, it is very important because most of the universities take GD and personal interview both when they select you for research study. When you opt for applying for any post, there are many institutes who also design group discussion session before personal interview. So you have to keep in mind that group discussion actually assess your leadership quality, your team spirit. It will assess if you are a good team player or not. The first thing, what is the difference between a group discussion and debate? The first and the major difference is their nature. Group discussion has a cooperative nature. You are looking for a cooperation. There is a topic. You want it to discuss because you want to reach at a conclusion. You allow different brainstorming. You allow different ideas, different aspects, and mingle them together and try to reach at a single decision or a multiple decisions also. You can say group discussion is a more of a democratic way. It's a democratic process where each and everyone expresses his ideas. He puts forward his or her own opinion in a group way. Then you reach a consensus. Where in debate, it is a competitive in nature. You are fighting to prove your point right. In debate, you can either speak in favor of the topic or you speak in the opposite of that topic. But in group, you can talk in both way. You can have your own another way. You can have your own middle march. Debate is a competitive in nature, while group discussion is a cooperative group process. In a debate, a speaker can speak either for the topic or against the topic, whereas in GD, the speaker can express both. Many persons, many a times, they fail GD. Why? Because they fail to understand its nature. When they are discussing, instead of discussing, they start debating. They lead into argument. They try to overtake the whole group discussion. It's a negative impact. You need not to do that to impress the one who is assessing your team spirit. Because when you try to overpower all the people, when you try to force your opinion, you are not helping yourself. Actually, you are damaging your own chances. Now, objective. So you have to understand, you must have understood the objectives by the prior discussion. The objective of a GD, okay, mainly to check your team playing skill. You have to understand others person. You have to understand their opinions, their point of view. While making your point, ensure that your team as a whole reaches a solution or agreement that is both feasible and accepted by all the team members. At least when you are sitting in a group, generally you sit on a round table. You face each other. You respect each other's opinion, whether you agree or not. Then you discuss, then you reach a conclusion. Okay, now, factors that affecting the GD. When you are speaking in any group discussion, what are the factors that affect your good or bad performance, that make your assessment better one bad one or the worst one. Oral communication skill. You must be a good orator. When you speak, speak clearly. You must be aware with the language in which the discussion is going on. That's the first thing. You must have to have a good oral communication skill. You should be audible enough. You should not be shouting, but you should not be mincing your words also. You should be clear when you speak. You should be crisp and clear. Patient listener. Listen, it's a discussion. It's not a debate. Okay, you have to pay your attention when other person is speaking. You must be a good listener. You should not interrupt the other person. Okay, it will give you a negative impact. Okay, the people may think that you are not a team player because you are not ready to listen to other person's opinion. Clarity of thought and expression. You should not beating about the bush. You should not try to impress the people. You should be honest. When you don't understand anything, you can ask the person, what do you mean by when you say this? I don't get this. Can you explain this? Okay, same thing. When you say something, be clear. Take your time. Don't rush and don't jump into the discussion. Listen, understand, and then take your stand. Apt language. That's the first thing. Okay, your language shows your education, your etiquette, your character, and your background. So, you are showing your team spirit. You are showing your culture when you use a courteous language. Okay, even when you are taking a opposite stand, you should sound humble. You should sound sympathetic. You should have empathy in your tone when you speak. You should use apt words. You should avoid saying curse words. Body language. Body language becomes even more important here. Okay, when you say, your body language should not be violent even if you are taking a opposite stand. Okay, body language should be a proper. Okay, then team behavior. Okay, and how you be a good team player? By helping the others, by listening to others, by respecting others. Okay, it makes you and you become a good team player, and in all, it proves you a good leader. It assesses you as a good leader because you help your group to reach a conclusion. You be an active player in a group discussion and you played your role. Now, let's see some do's and don'ts in a group discussion. First and foremost thing, speaking is important. Just by remaining silent, okay, it is not a test match. Okay, just by facing the ball, you can avoid the test match. You can draw the test match. No, here result is must. You should speak. Okay, you should take your stand. You should express your ideas. To speaking is first and foremost thing when you are appearing in a group discussion. Second, give everyone a chance to speak. You don't have to hijack the discussion. Okay, you may have lot of to say. You may have lot of to speak. You may have a good ideas, but it's a group discussion. It's not your speech. You should allow everyone an ample amount of time. Okay, you should be a part of this democratic process. Maintain the eye contact. Okay, when you move your eye, when someone is speaking and is looking at you and you are not looking at that particular person, within a second, you give an impression that that person's opinion doesn't matter for you. He is worthless. You are not trying to say that. That's why when in a group discussion, avoid looking into your notes, avoid getting lost into your own ideas. Okay, you should maintain an eye contact when other person speaking, and when you speak, you should look at each and every member to assess what is impact of your ideas, your thoughts on your fellow team members. Then, so active listening skill, that is the part of that. When they are talking, listen to them. Because when you listen to them, only then you can know what are the ideas they are trying to say, which points are left out, what are the points that are not okay as per you, What are the new things you want to add into that idea which is expressed? You can do all these things if you are an active listener. Next thing, don't interrupt anyone. Okay, however opposite stand the person is taking, he may be something which is not good, he may be something which is wrong, but in that case also, you should not interrupt that person. You should allow that person to complete his thoughts, his ideas, then you should take your stand. It's not a political debate, okay? It's a discussion. Keep the topic on track, okay? You should say only the things which are connected to the topic which is discussed, okay? Just to impress someone. You should not beating around the bush to say that, okay, whatever the questions which are asked in exam, I'll write what I know. It is nothing like that. Here people are assessing you. You should keep the topic on the track. You should keep the track of your discussion on the right path. Encourage the someone who is not taking active part in the discussion. You should encourage other people. Because when you encourage, you become a team player. You allow the people who are assessing and evaluating you to see you have a team spirit. You are a leader. You are a team player because you are not only taking part, you are also encouraging and giving confidence to the fellow members to take part into the group discussion. That should be your role when you are taking a group discussion. Do not argue. We have already discussed group discussion is different from debate. You don't have to argue. You have to put for your ideas and wait for an answer. Then the person speaks. Nobody is going to speak. Then you have to say the counter argument. Do not debate with anyone and give out new ideas. Instead of repeating the same ideas or using the ideas which are given by someone else already, you should not use that idea. You should develop your own ideas, or you have to add something into that idea. I hope this will help you to take part in GD whenever you take part in next time. Let's see another aspect, another important thing. Okay, this thing will help you in your future. Okay, personal interview, PI. Personal interview is the foremost tool and the most important and basic tool that people use to judge you in a face-to-face encounter. When people take your interview, they assess not only your knowledge, they not only assess the information provided by you in your biodata, in your application, but they also assess you as a person through your language, through your body language, through your eye contact, the way you express your ideas. Okay, so a personal interview is also a handy tool to get into the psyche of the person, to get into his personality, and to assess that person. So that is why most of the organization take personal interview. Okay, so there are a few things that you can highlight. First thing, start with small and brief talk. Generally what happens, the moment you enter the interview room, before the courteous talk, the person asks your introduction. You should be brief. You should not be talking about yourself only. Okay, you should begin with a proper precaution. Because the first few moments, you should allow yourself a time to get into the psyche. Okay, what are the expectations of the person who's taking your interview? What is trying to ask? So do not go in a long sentences. Do not go on talking about you. Okay, be brief. Okay, if the situation demands the information to be revealed, then reveal the information. Whatever the things are asked, you have to reveal them. Second, addressing the interviewer. Okay, first impression, have a very must. What happens if I am taking your interview and you are addressing me as a wrong? You are not able to pronounce my name properly. Okay, instead of saying, you suppose many times a person have a rank. Somebody is doctorate and you are not addressing them as a doctor. You are insulting that person. Okay, someone is Premanand and you are calling it Prema only. That is not the way. You are not the friend of that fellow. So addressing the interviewer, if you are not sure how to pronounce that person's name, if you are not sure, You can use the time before your interview. You can ask in confidence, "Okay, sir, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name." And then you ask that particular person. You can ask the another person in organization instead of pronouncing that person's name wrong. We have seen many world leaders pronouncing wrongly, and they become a subject for trolling. Then eye contact and body language. Okay, I have told you, language and body language, both are important. When you close your eye, when you say when you move your fingers, when you move your chairs, this all indicates that you are nervous. You are not confident enough. We might be nervous while facing interview, but it is not compulsory to reveal the nervousness. We may look confident through our body language. You should have a proper eye contact when you are talking to a person. Okay, when you don't know anything, you should have a confidence enough to say, "Sir, I don't know this. Sorry. I will try next time to get the knowledge of this thing." And your body language. Second, matching the tone. Every person has their own tone. You may find the interview who are very serious in tone. They will begin with the subject and they will make an inquiry into your educational realm or whatever the subject you are specialized in. Or there are few person who wants to know about your psychology. They begin a political discussion, they begin a whatever. And there are few person who take interview in a business-like manner. There are few person who take interview as if they are your friend in a very friendly manner. So you should match the tone which is set during the interview. So that is why I'm saying that you should give yourself a time to know, okay, what are the expectation of the person who's taking interview. Whether he wants to communicate in business-like manner, whether he wants to communicate as if he's someone senior to you, he's the someone from your own fraternity, whether he's acting as a psychiatrist to get into your psyche. You should allow yourself to assess this before the person assess you. Be patient. That's the next thing. Be patient enough. Listen to the question completely. Suppose if I ask, which you already know, you will be jumping from your seat. I know this, but this is not the way. You should listen properly. You should listen the question properly. You should understand the context in which the particular question is asked. Then you should answer your word. By being patient enough, you give yourself a time to develop your thoughts. Okay, you make your own sentence, you realize what I'm trying to say that, and when you speak, there will be no there will be no fumble, there will be no missing the eye contact. You will sound confident enough. So whenever you come across a question, okay, don't jump into answering it. Take your time. It is okay to take your own time. Okay, you can take few seconds before answering. You can develop a thought. You can make a brain map. You can decide, okay, I'll answer in this that way. A question may be analytical one. So it is must to have a little bit of a patience when you are answering question in interview. Be clear and honest. Suppose if I ask you something which is not known to you, or you are not sure about that particular topic, so instead of lying, instead of making a false show that you know about that thing, or using bombastic language, talking here and there to impress the person who's taking your interview, is not a good thing. You should be honest enough. You should say with a confidence, "Sorry, sir, I'm not aware of this particular thing. I'm not aware of that particular idea or particular realm of the knowledge." So you should be honest. So brief talk, body language, addressing clearly, matching the tone, and by being a patience, having a patience, you can always crack an interview. So thanks a lot for having me here, and thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity. Good day.